Hi everybody, welcome to Lunchtime Live. If this is your first time here, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. This is episode 33, and Lunchtime Live is basically like a live video newsletter for Stitches and Scraps. So I'll be talking about what's new on the site, and then we'll do a demo at the end. And today I'm going to look at a few different ways to embroider eyes for your amigurumi or other appliques and things like that. Basically, different types of eyes to embroider. I'm not looking at really fancy ones. I'm only looking at very simple one color easy eyes. Hi Beth, I'm glad you made it. If this is your first time here, please say hi, let me know you're here. Okay, so let's get started. I have a lot to share with you this week. Friday, I did a new video and released section 2 of the Simply Sweet Raglan Cal. Sorry, that was Tuesday, not Friday. Tuesday this past week. If you're new to that one, this is the Simply Sweet. Oh, let me move so I can see my. There we go. This is the Simply Sweet Raglan baby sweater. And today not today, but this week, this section, what we're working on is the yoke. So we're working on basically, we did the collar and the buttonhole and everything the first time, and now the second section is everything up to about here, where we do the actual raglan shaping. So next time, the next section that comes out is where we separate for the sleeves. And then we work the body, and the sleeve caps are separated. So that'll be the next time, but this time it's basically this section up here, the yoke. And you see these increases here. These are done with Make One increases. So on Friday I released the tutorial for the Make One increases that are used in that sweater. So that came out on Friday, and then just a reminder, not something new, but just a reminder, if you have not entered the giveaway for the Modern Tunisian book by Mary Beth Temple, definitely do that as soon as possible because that giveaway ends on the 11th. We have a lot of entries in so far. It's a great book. If you don't know Tunisian, it's okay. It's a good book to learn from. And if you do know Tunisian, they're really modern patterns. Like, I think you'll really like them. So check that out. And as always, all of the links for everything I talk about are in the blog post for this episode. And I will link to that blog post in the description. I think I may have already put the link there, but I'll double check that by the time we're finished here. So if you go to that link, you'll see all of the things that I'm talking about and how to get to all of them. So that's it for this past week. Coming up on Friday, I've recorded a new tutorial on how to wind a cake of yarn from a hank. Hanks are those twisted skeins. I didn't bring one to show you, but hanks are the ones that you can't knit from the way they are or crochet from the way they are because they're just twisted. That's how a lot of indie dyers sell their yarn. And you pretty much have to wind them into a ball first. So I'm going to show you how to use a tabletop swift and a ball winder to wind a hank of yarn into a cake. They're called cakes. They're just balls, but they're cake shaped. So that'll come out. I'm hoping I'll have that ready for you tomorrow. Honestly, I've been a little under the weather, so it might be Saturday, but hoping for tomorrow. And then the next pattern that comes out next week is for our magnets crochet along. It's February, it's time for a new magnet. I'm going to show you a sneak peek. This is my rough draft. I just started playing around yesterday and I was using whatever yarn I had close to me. So ignore the fact that it has green eyes and a purple nose. But this is the rough draft basic idea. And see, those eyes will not be green, and they may not be slanted like that either, but this was the rough idea of the fox, which is going to come out next week. So I have to work that up still into the full pattern with the 2 layers and all of that. I'm thinking it'll work up very much like the bear did, where it will have the ears on the back layer and then the front layer doesn't have the ears. And the reason for that is I really like the way that the edge looks around the ears. It looks like the ears are set back a little bit from the face, which I really like by doing that two-layered effect. So it probably I'm going to do that with the next one. It gives it some depth, you know. So I'll have that for you next week. And what else do I have for you next week? Lunchtime Live, I have no plans yet. I might demo the ears. I might do something completely different. If there's something you want to see as a quick demo, let me know and I will set that up. If not this week, then as soon as I can fit it in. But I have no agenda for actually the next couple of weeks. So if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I can definitely fit it in. So for today's demo, I'm going to do eyes. And there's so many different ways to do eyes. So what I've done is I've made a couple of just little circles that I'm going to practice a bunch of different eyes on with you. And I decided not to use black yarn only because black yarn's harder to see. So I'm going to use this brown yarn so you can see better what I'm doing. But mostly I would probably do these techniques with black yarn. So the first one, the easiest way to make eyes is very much like what I did on this fox here. It's just a simple little line. So for example, and I would normally, weave in the tail, before starting. In fact, let me just hook it in here just a little bit, just so that it's held in place out of our way. And then let's go ahead and make an eye. So the easiest way is to do just a straight line. Oops, see, I wanted it out of the way. There we go. To do just a straight line like this. And that's a very simple little eye, right? And you can do a straight line here. Whoop. There we go. And now we have a pair of eyes. So if you have a very small amigurumi, that's really all you need to do is those tiny little eyes. But let's take a look at my favorite version of an eye, which is a modification of this, where you make that one stitch, right? But now we want to make the eye a little bit round. We want to make it puffy. So we're going to keep going in this same stitch like 4 or 5 times, as much as it takes, and what you end up getting is this little puffball eye that just has layers and layers of yarn over it until it gets the shape that you want. And I'm just going up and down in the exact same spot over and over again. That little fuzziness is from the tail, sorry about that. There we go. Just keep going in the exact same spot, and eventually it rounds it out, so that you get, I think I've gone like 5 times now, but eventually you get this nice round eye. And that's my favorite way of making a round eye. It's fast, it's easy, and it looks good on most amigurumis. And you can do it any size. Like if you want a bigger eye, you can come in here. The height that you set up in the beginning is going to be the height of the eye. So suppose I wanted an eye that was that big. It might take more times through to fill it in, but I can definitely make my eye bigger. I do noses this way too. This is my favorite way to do like bear noses or fox noses. But eventually, and the more you fill it in, the rounder it will become. Eventually you get a nice puffy, like bobble-like eye, right? Okay, so let's move on. Let's do a different type of eye. If you want a perfectly round eye, this is a popular one. It's the French knot. I will tell you I hate French knots with a passion because I always seem to do them wrong. So let's see if I can manage not to screw it up on the video. What I end up doing is I wrap the yarn the wrong way, but I think, and I've practiced, so now I'm going to do it the right way. So you pull up the yarn, you stick your needle underneath that strand of yarn, and then you wrap it like 2 or 3 times this way. The more you wrap it, the bigger your knot will be. And notice I'm wrapping towards myself, so it's over and then around like that. And when it comes over the top, it pulls towards me, right? And then you take this and you go down. Oops, see, I told you I hate French knots. There we go. Okay, so you take this and you go down in a spot near where you are, but not the exact same spot. So like right there. And then what happens is these little wraps become, if you did it right, become a knot. Oh, look at that, I did it right. There is my French knot. And that's a very popular way to make eyes. So let's try that one more time to make a pair of eyes over here. Now I saw once, and I've only seen it once, I saw a different type of knot that's like a French knot. It's called a Colonial Knot, I believe. Look, I did 2 French knots right in a row. Wow. Okay, so that's the French knot, which also makes a great eye if you like that stitch, which I'm not the biggest fan. Let me see if I can try and do the Colonial Knot for you. It was, you make a backward C, and then you do a figure 8. Yeah, I don't know. Never mind. But look up Colonial Knot if you want an alternative to French knots. Not a fan. I prefer this style of eye. The other type of eye that's really easy to do is a little V-shaped eye with little stitches. So let me go out from here. I'm going to do these. I'm going to do these here. Come up in the center of the eye, go down on one side, then come back up in the center again, and go back on the other side. So this is how I did the eyes on my bear, and it makes this kind of V-shaped eye. I'm going to grab my bear and show you the eyes so that you can see how that looks. Here we go. So you can see here I did the little V shapes like that. And that gives a smiling sort of look. I found that eyes, when they point upwards, are sort of a smiling kind of look, and when they point downwards, they're more sleepy or sad or quiet kind of a look. So I'm going to get rid of this swatch. Let's look at another swatch because that one's kind of full now. Okay, so you can do the V shape, or you can do it kind of rounded, like I'm going to show you how to do a rounded eye. So suppose I wanted a rounded eye that went up and around. Suppose I want it to follow up and around here and then down here. Okay, let me zoom in a little more. There we go. So I want to go up to about here and then down to about there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make there's a couple different ways to do this, right? One way is you make the horizontal stitch and leave a little bit of give there. Position the eye where you want it, up here, okay? And then come in at the peak of it, and you can come in at a couple spots if you want to, and then go back down in the exact same spot over that. So that'll actually trap that eye like that. So that's one way to do it, but it leaves that little bubble there, which I don't particularly like, or it sinks in and then it's not even and smooth. So the other way to do a rounded eye like that would be back stitching. So you come in a little bit of ways from where you want it and you go backwards. Okay, so I want it there and I go backwards. Let's say I want it there, go backwards. Now I come in at the next spot, okay, and again go backwards. And then I come in at the next spot, and this is a little hard to control where you're going. You've got to like really, some people even draw it on ahead of time. And then let's say I want the eye to end here. Oops, sorry, I'm getting caught in the tails here. There we go. So that's another way you can do kind of a curved eye. You can get a custom shape with back stitching like that. Another way that I like is to combine the eye and the eyelashes, and I'm going to show you a sleepy eye now, okay? So a sleepy eye, we're going to go down like this, and it starts the same way. I put the starting and ending points, and then I leave this part for the eye, right? Now I'm going to make eyelashes, and this is a little bit bigger of an eye, but let me make eyelashes here. So you come in where you want the first eyelash and you sew that down. Okay, make a stitch for your eyelash. Then you can come in here, whoop, and make another eyelash. And I like this because it gives several points of connection, plus the eyelashes are cute. And there you go. And you can add, like, see, maybe I want another eyelash here. Her eyelashes aren't quite full enough. So let's do another eyelash right there. And now I've got kind of this sleepy-eyed, and it's a little sloppy because I wasn't really careful where I was placing my stitches, but I've got this kind of sleepy-eyed eye with eyelashes. And there you go. So that's another way to do it. Now the other thing to think about is eyebrows. Eyebrows can really add a lot to the face. So like if you have these round eyes, they can look a little beady without eyebrows. So I'm going to take these two French knot eyes and put eyebrows on them in the same way that we've done some of these other things. So I'm going to use this technique. I like that kind of angled eyebrow. You can actually just do one diagonal line for an eyebrow if you want to, like, oh, sorry. And I sometimes like to use a thinner yarn for the eyebrows as well, but let's try one diagonal line from here to here. And then you mirror that on the other side. Oops, sorry. There we go. And again, I'm being a little sloppy here, but you can see the eyebrows now oh, I was out of frame. I'm sorry, I knocked my camera. There we go. Okay, so you can see with those two little stitches, the eyebrows add a little personality to that face, right? Now he looks a little worried, doesn't he? Okay, so I'm going to take these out. I'm going to try a different eyebrow. And you can do the curved lines too, just like I did with the other eyes, but you can do this. This is probably my favorite for an eyebrow, is to go, this is the middle of the eyebrow, right? I'm going to go horizontally one little stitch. And then vertically one little stitch, so or diagonally basically. So I come back up in the middle there, and then I go diagonally down for one more little stitch. And that's probably my favorite way of doing an eyebrow. Let me do the other one and I'll show you. Whoop. Horizontal and diagonal. And there we go, two sloppy little eyebrows. And obviously you want to take more care with the placement than I'm doing because I'm trying to do it fast and just show you. But eyebrows add a little bit of personality. You can also use a thinner yarn, and if you don't have a thinner yarn in the same color, what I have often done is I will take, let me cut some of this off. I will take a yarn like this and I'll separate the plies. So I might make the eye using the full yarn, and then I want a thin eyebrow, and I cannot pick up my needle. I want a thin eyebrow, so I will actually separate out the plies, and this one looks like a 4-ply. I might use half of it. I might use just 2 plies out of those 4. It's similar to separating embroidery floss in the same way, right? So now I have a thinner yarn that I can use to make thin eyebrows over my little French knot eyes. So those are some different methods for making eyes. There's about 7 million more methods for making eyes besides that, but those are some of the easy ones that just take a couple seconds when you've got a small project like, you know, a magnet. If you have any suggestions for next week, let me know. Otherwise, I think that's everything I have for you today. Thanks, Beth. So which one, Beth, I'm curious, out of all the eyes, which ones were your favorite eyes? Let me know. Beth is a friend of mine from, from my local Crochet Guild chapter, so it's always fun to see her on here. Anyway, that is all I had for you, and I will see you guys all next week. Have a good weekend. Happy Thursday. Bye.